God, I love this game so much, man. Welcome one and all to Metal Gear Rising, a game where slicing metal in half with a katana and suplexing giant robots is completely normal. I recently picked up this game and played it for myself despite being almost 10 years late to the party. Regardless, there's been a small resurgence in this game's popularity, and I absolutely fell in love with it despite its quirks. For those of you who haven't played it, or maybe have just seen the crazy amount of memes on this game, welcome to a world that has almost nothing in common with Metal Gear Solid, except for a cardboard box every once in a while. Instead of a stealth combat game, you are actively turning your enemies into mincemeat as Raiden. The game opens with Raiden absolutely flexing on the player as you pick up and throw a giant mech, run vertically up and down walls, jump across actively flying missiles in the tutorial mission. Oh yeah, and then you kind of get wrecked. This Chad of a man is Jetstream Sam, also known as the best character in this entire game, and my main inspiration for making this video. He's a swordsman who works for a private military corporation called Desperado, who essentially wants to fuel the war economy. He's one of the many bosses in this game, including Monsoon, Sundowner, Armstrong, and wait, who are you again? Anyways, Sam absolutely obliterates you at the beginning of the game, but you survive, returning the next mission with a sick new body and a literal jawline of steel. With his newfound strength, Raiden goes on a goddamn crusade to stop Desperado and their employer, World Marshal, from igniting a new world war and profiting off of it by selling their services to the highest bidder. Now, while I could bore you to death trying to explain the complicated and deep Metal Gear lore that I totally understand and haven't had to Google a million times, I am not gonna do that. I just want to talk about the game, what I love about it, and why you should 100% give this game a go. Best part is, you need to have played exactly 0 other Metal Gear games to enjoy this spin-off. And not to mention, this game can be completed in only about 6 to 10 hours, depending on your speed of your playthrough. So anyways, let's get into this. This is Metal Gear Rising, an absolute trip of a game. Tooled up and ready to go, step into the shoes or heels of Raiden and get going. Light attack to go real fast, heavy attack to go slightly less fast, and a parry for defense serves as your main options. After decimating a small village worth of enemies with a very vague objective, you eventually meet Blade Wolf, your first boss, who really makes you suffer if you haven't learned how to parry yet. You beat up this dog and somehow convert him to your side despite slicing him into a million pieces. But it makes this game at least 1 review point better for having a dog, except for the fact that you can't pet him. Oh, and you also get introduced to his banger of a musical track, which is just, listen. Anyways, you scurry off to the next area wearing an actual sombrero, which, yes, you can use as an outfit during the rest of the game. Here you run into Mistral, who just has the most fun mechanic of a mid-2010s game, war against your own controller. It takes quite some time for the plot to really kick in, and by that I mean it really takes some time for this guy to show back up again. Sam is a reoccurring antagonist during the story, and the main reason I love him so much is that he somehow causes the player to think in the middle of what is otherwise a very silly game. Sam does some funky stuff towards the end of a mission by projecting himself on walls and asking Raiden to question his morals, asking him things like how he kills so easily without hesitation. Raiden begins to hear voices of the soldiers around him, showing that, they're all human, and at the end of the day, they're not just some faceless entity to destroy, really deep and philosophical stuff, except that Raiden just completely does not care. Raiden is a great anti-hero. He was trained to be a killer, and he's very good at what he does. He kills dozens of people during the course of this game with very little thought. He honestly isn't much better than the antagonists in that sense. Speaking of antagonists, enter Monsoon, the walking meme.
Controlled by something greater. Names. The DNA of the soul.
Yes, that is real in-game dialogue. Anyways, Monsoon tries to double down on Sam's point about Raiden being a killing machine, trying to make him feel bad and, saying that war is just nature taking its course, it's just the strong preying on the weak. And Raiden agrees. Wait, what? Yeah, Raiden essentially says, you're right, I know I'm kind of a piece of shit for killing people. Anyways, time for you to die. So, Monsoon's memes end here, and Raiden, with some newfound anger, decides to go run up a building, and not by using the stairs. The next man on the chopping block is Sundowner, who, despite claiming to be invincible,
I'm fucking invincible!
dies pretty damn easily. Also, this man somehow has armor plates that explode. I'm not even gonna question how that works. Anyways, time to go get a literal spaceship so that we can stop the big bad from starting World War III. But first... Re-enter Sam, who now stands before you ready for a good old-fashioned duel. A great fight ensues with surprisingly no BS mechanic, just your pure skill of the game's swordplay. Oh, and again, this music is just adrenaline in a bottle. Although tough, you best Sam, giving him his cowboy death in the desert and taking his sword as a piece of remembrance. This scene makes you feel awfully somber actually. Even though Sam was a menace to you the whole game, it's sad seeing someone so similar to Raiden have to die because of just some ideal differences. But with that aside, you watch a man enjoy some anime and then blast off to the final mission that consists of like 4 enemies before shoving you into a movie-length story cutscene. Enter Armstrong. A typical politician just trying to get votes and money by casually starting World War III. The usual. This man shows up in an actual mech just to flex on you and ask you to read his Twitter timeline. Truly a despicable man. After having the most fun boss fight where you stand in one area, you somehow parry block an entire mech, and Armstrong decides to come out to face you one-on-one. But, not after his election speech first. Oh yeah, and then this is also where this iconic meme happens. This man is just built different, having nanomachines to essentially make him invincible. Take that, Sundowner. Anyways, Raiden gets his teeth kicked in until Blade Wolf decides to come in clutch. Apparently, the madman Sam put a speaker into his sword and tells Raiden from the grave that he had caused him to rethink his actions after what was a multi-year plan with Desperado. And this is why he decided to duel you in the middle of the desert, to have a true test of skill to see who was right and who was wrong. So anyways, here, take my sword and finish what you started. Raiden completely ditches all care for justice here, delivering one of my favorite lines in the whole game.
I said my sword was a tool of justice. Not used in anger. Not used for vengeance. But now I'm not so sure. And besides, this isn't my sword.
And now the fight can truly begin. Armstrong's fight is a great conclusion to the game, allowing the player to leverage all the skills that they've learned throughout the whole experience. Oh, and it's also accompanied by, one of the best songs in the whole game. And with that, an absolute adrenaline rush of a game comes to an end. Seriously though, this game is a wicked amount of fun, and despite being short by modern standards, it is incredibly worth your time. It does have quite a bit of replay value and even some side stories that fills in some extra plot points and character depth. There's actually a surprising amount of depth in these characters that I really didn't touch on much except for a little bit on Sam, but I might cover in the future, which is really cool considering how freaking goofy this game is most of the time. If this video didn't convince you enough already, I would just plead with you to give it a try. If you're not jamming out to the music and having a good time by the end of the first level, there is just something wrong with you. Anyways, that's all from me. If this video got you to laugh or lose brain cells, then please subscribe. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. See ya. Hey everyone, for those of you who have made it to the end of the video, I just wanted to thank you again for taking the time out of your day to watch this. I really appreciate it. I also wanted to plug real quick that I do also run a podcast with two friends of mine. Please check it out in the description. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.